All right, Lagos, it is 15 minutes gone past 5. You're tuned in to Business Hub here on Smooth 98.1. And if you just tune in, hey, it's going to be an interesting conversation. I know today is all about the business. We're still trying to make money, even if the rains are pouring. What? At least for now, I think it's stopped. Hopefully, in your neck of the woods, it's stopped. But if it's not, my heart goes out to you. Just be cozy. Anyways, today on Business Hub, we'll be taking a look at the consumer goods sector to see how it's faring. Hmm. Is it good? Should we be worried? Is that where we want to be pumping our money into? And basically how it's holding up with inflation and the current rates. Because I know right now a dollar goes for 1,500. Some people might say it depends on where you're getting your your data from. Some are saying it's a little higher, some are saying it's a little lower. But you know what? We're going to stick with 1,500. And our special guest today will definitely help us answer all that and more. My guest is Motunrayo Sowunmi. She is the consumer goods analyst with Vetiva Capital Management. Good evening, and glad to have you with me.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome, great stuff. As always, Lagos, hey, you're not left out. You also get to be a part of the conversation. So if you have any questions, any contributions, any thoughts at all regarding our conversation, where it says you're not clear, what you can do is share those thoughts with me on, or rather with us, on WhatsApp. The number is 0911 Should I take that again? I think I should. 0911 999 0981. You can also join us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/ smooth 981 FM Lagos. And hey, you can get to see how we look like. Well, what I look like in the studio, all decked up. Yes, it's a little chilly in the studio. So I need to be, well, okay, let's get into the conversation and talking about how we're doing. I want us to start with inflation, right? Um, really, how has it impacted consumer goods, especially consumer good firms in Nigeria? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it in the middle? Where exactly are we at?
Okay. Thank you for that question. So I would first of all explain inflation in simple, in layman's language, just for the sake of our
Ah,
viewers who might not understand.
very,
Right. So
very necessary.
inflation in a very simple terms is increase in prices of goods over time,
Mm,
right? And how that works is so for manufacturers, when there tends to be increase in cost, what
mm,
happens is that they push it to consumers. And so you see that the bottle of Coke that was about 200 some years ago is now 500, right?
right.
And what that tells you is that as a consumer,
Mm,
you are able to purchase lesser volume for the same amount, right? And how that translates to consumer goods frame is that due to high inflation that we saw, and that's what we've seen so far in Nigeria, right? 2023, 2024, especially, inflation was high. It went
right.
up to an all-time high of 34.80 as at December last year. And that led to consumer goods firm recording lower volumes, which
Mm,
negatively impacted their revenue. However, 2025 has been much more better. We've seen stability, right?
right.
Due to the rebasing that happened. So we
Okay.
saw that the NBS rebased the CPI data, and we saw that so far, the latest inflation print in July showed that inflation had reduced to 21.88% year on year, right? And how has that translated? How has that impacted consumer goods frame, right?
Mm,
And that's the main question. And so what we've seen is that because inflation has eased, right,
mm,
that has also led to increase in demand, right? Consumers purchasing more, and that has led to consumer goods firm recording increase in revenue, right? A bit of an analysis I did across, just some consumer goods frame showed that
Right.
revenue growth across six consumer goods frame, Nestle, Unilever, um, Nigerian breweries, Dangote Sugar,
Hmm.
increase in revenue growth, right? Due to the ease in inflation, right? And that's what we've seen so far.
Awesome. All right. And well, as we always know, whatever goes, I think, should I say it's a peculiarity with Nigeria because whatever goes up never comes down.
Oh no.
Oh my
Something
goodness.
sometimes
Ah,
some things are coming down
really?
a bit compared to last year. Yeah,
Okay.
compared
Okay.
to last year, yes, we've seen a bit of
Well, to
that.
to the average, I don't even know if I would say average person because average is you still even you still even need to still figure out how average is this average. How
I know,
average is this
right?
average really? Because to the average person, if it's not translating to the regular things that they're buying, like sachet water,
Mm,
it's almost like, what are you saying? Maybe yes, if you're buying, if you used to buy something like certain food items, it was extremely high. Maybe now reduced by 1,000 or 2,000. That's the only way they will understand it. But say you're telling them with the inflation data out there, they'll be like, this person doesn't know what they are saying. No, I'm still buying it at the same rate. It's not changing. So yes, um, and this is why I'm saying this because if eggs, then eggs, how much were they? Maybe 100 or 200 now. Then now you're having to buy eggs. Was it even
about
200? It's more than that. Maybe one egg could go for as high as 400 now or thereabout. So you're now thinking, "Ah, before I could buy eggs and have a lot my protein, I'm sure of how much protein I'm taking in, but now I can't even try that because when I think of one egg for 500, you're beginning to question how much of it you need to be eating. But hey, like I said, it is how some people understand the inflation
mm,
by the things that they buy and consume on a regular. But can we actually classify consumer good items as essential purchases? I think that's
um,
something I want to get into.
Okay, so what we see for consumer goods, I would say some consumer goods items are essential purchases, but not all. And I'll
Mm,
explain that, right?
okay.
So we see that there are two major classifications that I would like to talk about. There's the essential item, which are basically necessities required for you and I for our day-to-day living. What do I mean? For example, water, food seasoning, the like of salt. This is
Mm,
required for every day, right? We
I
also
agree.
have the beauty and well-being segment. We have deodorants, soaps. So these are essential
Indeed,
items.
they are
And
essentials.
the truth is that regardless of the price, they might just look for a substitute, but you still purchase these items, right?
Oh yeah.
And so usually this essential goods, what happens is that for essential goods, regardless of the disposable income, you will still consume as purchase. While on the other hand, we have the discretionary goods, which is majorly wants, not necessarily a need.
Oh,
A
okay.
good example to this will be like the brewery segment. We have malts, beers. This
Right.
That's right.
I get what you
These are
mean.
wants we can do without them on a day-to-day
Yeah. They're
basis,
not
right?
water, so yes.
Exactly. So these are wants, and
Right.
usually for this, it has a direct relationship with disposable income. So meaning that, as consumers' income decline, um, they tend to buy less of discretionary goods, right?
Mm,
But to answer your question, like I said earlier, some consumer goods items are essential, but not all.
right. Not all. Okay. I agree with you on that one, especially with the example you gave. I will not leave water. And let me see what else is essential. What is absolutely essential? I'll not leave water and my regular everyday meal, maybe milk, sugar, and say I'm going to just take a bottle of soda. I Nah. It's more like a want than a need. So I agree with
Yeah.
you on that one. So how would you describe the level of disposable income among consumers in
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria?
Mm. Okay. So for disposable income among consumers in Nigeria, one thing that we have seen is that based on disposable income, there's been a bit of an increase, right? But when compared to consumer spending, it's still low. And also, it's also important to compare this to the rate of inflation that we've seen. So
Mhm.
even though we have seen a bit of increase in disposable income, like if you agree with me, right, we've seen firms increase salaries of people and even with the new minimum wage, right? So there's been a
Mm,
bit of increase.
mm,
But the issue
mm.
is, you know, that the issue is that inflation rate is rising at a faster pace, right? So there's still a
Right.
strain in consumers' wallets. That's what we have seen.
Mm.
So based on that, we've seen that um,
It's
inflation is
certainly
still,
work.
yes, inflation is still eating into consumers' wallets,
Mm.
right? And that's been what we've had to face. We believe it will get better.
I want see that get better. I wish we could get there quicker.
Can you imagine?
So we can have a
Uh,
breather. As the president says, let the poor breathe. So please, inflation, let us breathe. And once it is, we need to breathe. Um, let's even focus on the stability of the currency. So we've relatively had a
mm,
stable currency, which is a good thing. Unlike before, where it was, we weren't sure where we were at, to be honest.
you
But
know,
how
yes.
really has this impacted consumer goods sector and firms in Nigeria?
Okay. So I will speak about this in two directions, right? And the first
Okay.
one is in terms of cost. Just like you said, thanks to CBN, right? They have actually done a great job in being able to defend the naira. Last
Okay.
year was not a funny one at
Oh
all.
no. Oh no.
FX volatility was serious. It went as high as,
I think
naira when
2000
compared to
plus.
dollars went as high, yes, as 1,900 thereabouts, yes.
Right.
And but what we've seen so far in 2025 has been great. Actually, it's
Mm,
been within the range of 1.5, and that's where the stability comes in. And so how is this impacting consumer goods firm? So like I said, the first one I will speak on is cost and cost of production. So a lot of consumer goods firm in Nigeria still rely on importation, right?
mm,
And so what we've seen is that due to the depreciation of naira,
hmm
what happened last year was that due to the FX volatility and the high depreciation of naira, we saw
hmm
that cost of cost for this consumer goods frame
hmm
soared, right? And that ate into their revenue and their profitability. So we saw consumer goods record, losses, right? But like I said, moving into this year, we've seen stability, and that has really been good because we have now seen that consumer firms, producers, they've been able to, you know, moderate and contain their costs. I just did a bit of analysis, playing around with some figures and just looking at an analysis based on some firms and
hmm
comparing their cost to sales ratio. And what I was able to come up with was there's been an average cost of sales ratio for H1 2025 fell to about 62% from 67% the prior year,
Mm,
which shows
okay.
an improvement, right? So
Mm.
showing that the stability in FX has actually helped them, right? Because like I said, the cost of
When it was high,
importation now
it was
reduces exactly.
right, right.
And
So they weren't able to
another
purchase.
Yes, and another one we've also been able to see is that we also saw that some companies recorded FX losses, right? A lot
Oh
of
yes,
that,
a
but
lot
due
of
to
that.
the stability
Rebasing
we've
and everything, yeah.
seen. Exactly. We've also seen an improvement in that, particularly I know for Nigerian breweries, as at H1 2024, they had about an FX debt of 112 billion. But for this year, half year, they actually recorded an FX gain of about 7 billion. So yes, it's really
That's a
um
positive.
stability is doing a great one. And that's why the consumer goods sector this year has been,
And upward,
it's been
I've seen
going in
it
the stocks
indeed.
market. Yes,
Mm.
yes. So
All
it's,
right.
yes. So the stability in the macro environment has been great for the sector.
That's awesome stuff. Lagos, we have a quick breather coming through. When we get back in, we will be talking about how the landscape is looking like competition wise. I know that we have large firms, we have
Mm,
smaller firms. We'll see how they are playing in this sector. But let's take this quick breather. On the other side, we will talk about that. Don't move a muscle, stay tuned to Smooth 98.1. So it's just a minute and we'll be back in.
okay. Thank you.
Welcome to a place where the earth comes with the promise of tomorrow. Beneath its soil lies the treasure, Africa's largest gas reserves. The new Imo is on the rise. Here, the past and the future dance. Nollywood stars are born from its soil, their stories echoing in the hearts of millions. Oguta Lake whispers secrets of nature's beauty, while the Orashi power plant rises a beacon of industrial hope. Under the visionary leadership of Governor Hope Uzodinma, Imo State is being transformed. Security has been reclaimed. Digital skills are woven into the fabric of its youth. And governance has become a conversation where the people are heard and action follows. This is not just a state, it is a promise of growth, of innovation, of a future built on the strength of its people. A new Imo is on the rise. Imo State, the heartland state. Turn up. Music.
All right, Lagos. It is 34 minutes going to 5. You're tuned in to Business Hub here on Smooth 98.1. And today we've been taking a look at the state of Nigeria's consumer goods sector, especially for the SMEs and hey, large firms, small firms, how it is they're floating presently. Has it been good? Is that positive? Well, my guest in the person of Motunrayo Sowunmi has been giving us great insight. She is the consumer goods analyst with Vetiva Capital Management. Thank you so much for all the insights so far. However, let's get into more interesting matters. Yes, we see big guys, we see the small guys. Let's see how it is they're
Yeah.
actually faring. And I say faring because why does the competition land, what does it look like? What does the competition landscape actually look like between the bigger firms and the smaller firms? Is it a level playing ground, or is there some shake up, or is it a little difficult to actually play in the space?
Okay. So for large firms and small firms, I remember attending an analyst call for Unilever, and they were honest about the competition being intense, actually.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
growing. And that is majorly due to the, low barrier to entry that we have for this sector. So it's easy for
Ah,
people to come in. And it's really been a fight between loyalty and affordability, right?
Okay.
consumers are very
I
loyal,
agree with
or
you on that one
do I
because
say?
the sachet
Yeah,
economy that we're having to to deal with. So you're still
exactly.
comparing, okay, so this is the higher brand. Maybe there's a particular sardine I like. I know that that's like the one my grandparents were using, but
I know,
that
right?
one cost an arm, a leg, and an extra. But this one, is it not the same sardine?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. That
I
has
get it. I get it.
that has been the landscape. But one thing I know that the larger firms are doing, and which
Yeah.
I believe they have an upper hand, is they've been very strategic in ensuring that there's
Mm,
a mix of affordability while
okay.
still delivering service and quality in terms of differentiation, right?
Mm, okay.
So yes, that's how it's been.
All right. So competition is good. Just know how to balance things out and don't think that the
Yeah.
smaller firms can't outdo you. If you're in this space, make sure that you're doing things right. And if you're trying to match up to the bigger firms, the sky is large enough for everyone. But would you say the bigger firms have a what's the word, advantage over the smaller firms when it comes to competition?
Mm. Um, I believe they do. I believe
Okay,
they do.
okay.
Operating business in Nigeria is
Nigeria is a special place when it comes to such
I know,
businesses.
right? Yes,
What you
it
think will
is.
play on the outside is not, it's not really the same. So I get what you mean.
Yeah. So for the larger firms, like I said, um, I believe they have an advantage. And why will I
Okay.
say so? One major reason I would just talk about is how their distribution network, right? Because when goods are produced
Hmm.
without it reaching the final consumer, you can't make your
Mm,
sales, right? And so
I
one
agree.
thing we've seen is that the larger firms have been more deliberate and more strategic in terms of they have an advantage
Mm,
in terms of a wider reach. I remember attending an analyst call, and the CEO of Guinness spoke about how they were very intentional in ensuring that the product actually got to the local government areas to be able to reach more, yes,
ah.
consumers. And that would definitely give them a better edge, because if consumers can't see a product, if you ask me if I want to get something and I have to go 30 minutes, I would rather pick something else.
I will
So
pick a substitute quickly.
exactly. So a wider reach, the fact that they have an advantage of enhanced distribution is
Right.
an advantage, right? Also at Unilever, there's also a program they call the Shakiti program, where they empower, women in rural communities to, so they sell to them, right? They give them
Okay.
products to sell. And I
Right.
believe that that's also a strategic, initiative to be
Okay.
able to get into the communities, right?
Right.
And, hold on to the market share. So yes, I believe larger firms, have an advantage. Yes. And
Well,
in
they
terms of
play the field.
financing too, of course. In terms of
Okay.
financing too, yeah, they definitely have
Mm,
access to, yes,
more
financing
finance
options
so
to
they can
fund.
actually get as far as
Exactly.
they need to be. And that was going to that's what I also wanted to get into because it seems as if you don't have the right backing, it could be a bit difficult trying to get into the space. How true is that?
Sorry, could you come again? I didn't get that.
So I was talking about, how you said, oh, if you have the financial backing, it will make things a lot easier. So
Mm-hmm.
how true is it? Because there are some people of the opinion that once you don't have the financial wherewithal, you can't make it in this space. Is that true?
Well, Financing plays a key role, to be honest, right, in being
Okay.
able to upscale, right,
Okay.
especially in a very fragmented market, a lot of
Mm,
competition. So there will be need for extra, finance to be able to upscale. So it's actually a very large and important factor in this sector.
right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Great stuff. Ooh. Okay. So as we journey along, out of curiosity, is there a barrier really when it comes to getting into the space for consumer goods? Is there a barrier?
Mm.
Is there like a low or high barrier entry for those who want to play in the consumer space?
Okay, so I spoke about that earlier, but I would just
Reiterate, yeah,
reinstate that.
please. Please go ahead.
Yes. So for the consumer goods sector, it's a low barrier, right? Because like I
Okay.
said, it involves to
Your
start
everyday
off.
goods.
Exactly, right. And
Mm.
you know, if you go to the market today, right, I've seen new brands of soaps, and I'm like, when did this come up? And exactly. So when it comes to barriers to entry, and what that basically means is that the ability of new people to enter the market. Yes,
Mhm.
and that's what barrier to entry means at an affordable cost. So yes, for the consumer goods sector, it's low.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. At least no one needs to fret or think, if I enter this business, my money will tank. No, as long as you're doing the right thing and you have a tag, there's always a target audience for all brands, I believe. Unless you that business proves me wrong. But I think once you figure out who your target audience is and you're pursuing that, you should be good to go. And talking about now we're in the last well, not necessarily last quarter, but we've begun the Ember month. And I know that once it's we get into the space, it's more like this consumer good companies just come all out like, okay, we need to make all the money before the end of the year. So
Yes.
did it really mark up, or is there some competition? Is there, because I've been seeing some brands really just going into the market doing some awareness programs, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, this is strange, but okay. Is this a reawakening, or is this a normal thing when it comes to the end of the year sort of?
Okay, so it's a very strategic move and
Okay.
deliberate move. And so one thing we have seen over, years is that Q4 is always the best season for the consumer goods sector. And
Okay.
this is very relatable, and I'll just give some examples so that
Okay.
you can understand. So the Q4 is where we have December, we have the festive period, and of
Mm.
course, people and of course, people will want to purchase the like of, like I said, the essential goods,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Um, the seasoning because Unilever majors on that, nor and all this. Also for the brewery part, we have the likes of Nigerian breweries, the Guinness. The people will go for festive, parties, and
Right.
there will be the need
There
for
was
drinks. So
certain brands that they
usually,
associate with. Oh, okay.
yes. So usually what we see in consumer goods sector is that um they are very deliberate about increasing awareness and marketing campaign ahead of that period,
Right.
right?
Right.
In expectation of the festive season that will come. Also, we tend to see some stockpiling, you know, just to
Ah,
avoid that high prices
scarcity.
that people anticipate in
Ah,
December.
okay.
Yes. So yes. And also kids too will be going back to school, right?
Mm.
And there will be the purchase of, cereals, Milo, the likes of Nestle. So yes, it's very deliberate to ensure that, the campaign and the marketing strategy is increased to be able to reach out to more consumers and in a bid to make profit. And definitely this Q4 is going to definitely 100% going to be good because already Q1,
Was
Q2
seeing
is
it
seeing so well, exactly,
right.
especially coming from prior losses and also due to the stability in the macro environment that we've seen, we would definitely see better results in Q4. So it's a great one. It's going to be a great one for
All
them.
right. Positives, positives, positives. That is what we'll be leaving you with on Business Hub today. So thank you so much, Motunrayo, for all that insight. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you
Breaking
so much.
it down as possible. So for our listeners who want to get access to you, maybe they have personal questions, maybe they're looking to delve into the consumer goods market, but will need more analysis. How can they reach out to you or your firm?
Okay, so thank you so much. So, like I said, from Vetiva Capital Management, and we remain committed to providing you with very timely and expert insights. And so to reach out to us, you could visit our website, www.vetiva.com. And we also have a research portal, which is www.vetivaresearch.com. Here you get access to, our outlooks, and capital market updates to keep you abreast with information to enable you make informed investment decisions. And you can join us, of course, and you can follow us on Instagram, Vetiva Online, on Twitter, LinkedIn, and we assure you, you would not regret because we have so much prepared for you. Yes, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lagos. Well, that is the much we can take today. Hey, you know that we never stop the conversations, right? So what you want to do is stay tuned to Smooth 98.1. More music and great conversations to keep you coming. I will be getting into your reactions in a bit, so stay tuned to Smooth.